Hi everyone. So this video is meant to be a very quick review of the law of sines. This is meant for really someone who has studied this a couple of years now. So if you're sitting here in Algebra 2, you've probably seen this in both Geometry and Algebra 1, and this should be sufficient just to remind you of this. If you get to the end of this video and you have no idea what's going on, I do have more thorough videos posted on my YouTube site. Okay, so you're welcome to check that out. So, law of sines is another type of equation or another type of process that works in non-right triangles. I guess technically it would work in right triangles also, but you can use it in non-rights. So, law of sines is really a proportion, and it looks like this. Sine of angle A over side A is equal to sine of angle B over side B. And one of the big things to keep in mind here is that when you're looking at your triangle, angle A is always across from side A, and angle B is always across from side B. So let me make up a triangle. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I'm really awesome at this. But okay, so let's say I have this angle is 42 degrees. Okay. This angle is 36 degrees. This side length is what I'm looking for, and this side length is 15. So you'll see that I have some pairs here. I have an angle and a side across from each other where I know both of the values. That's kind of the critical piece of being able to use this function. Okay? And then I also have another pair here, and one of them is my x, but that's okay. I can solve for that x, and then I do know the fourth value there, the other angle. So when I go to set this up, it's going to look something like this. Sine of 42 over the side length that's across from it, which is 15, equals sine of 36 over that x value. Okay? And then we're going to cross multiply here. So, let me grab a good color. I'm going to go 15 times sine 36. And I could go ahead and evaluate that right now, but I'm going to do it all at the end. Equals x times sine 42. And then if I'm trying to get the x by itself, I'm going to come along here and divide by sine 42. Oops, that's a 2, I promise. Divide by sine 42. So this crosses out, and now I can just type this big thing into my calculator. And I come out with, I'll just write it over here, x equals 13.2. Which does make sense in my triangle. Remember that the smaller the angle, the smaller the side length. So it makes sense that because this angle, the 36, is smaller than the 42, that this side length would have to be smaller than 15. Okay? Okay, so that's kind of the easy version of law of sines. I'm going to do a real quick demo of how to use law of sines when you're looking for an angle measure. Okay, here we are again with another triangle, and I'm still looking at law of sines. You'll notice that just like before, I have this pair of numbers that go together, the 50 degrees and the 12, so that's going to kind of make the first piece of my proportion. So I'm going to set up sine of 50 over 12. And then for my second pair, I know I want to involve the x. That's got to go with the side that's right across from it, so that would be the 8. And then remember, the x is your angle measure, so you want to make sure you're putting that with the sine. So I would say sine of x over 8. Then I'm going to cross multiply, just like before. So I'm going to say 8 times sine of 50 equals 12 times sine of x. I'm trying to get x by itself here, so I would want to, at this point, divide by the 12. And now I'm going to put that whole left side in my calculator. So 8 sine 50 divided by 12. And I end up with 0.5107. Put that up here. Just be careful here. That's not your final answer. Remember that over here you're still left with a sine of x. So this is really giving you the sine value of x. And then from there, anytime you're looking for an angle measure, you're going to end up using an inverse. So I'm going to do the inverse sine of 0.5107. And that's going to leave us with about 30.7 degrees. Okay, now, just being entirely honest here, there's actually a small issue with that answer. And you may have learned this before. It's not that that answer is wrong. It's just that there's another possibility. There's another possible answer here for us. I think we'll talk about that more in class because that's going to be just too much to cover in a video. But for right now, if you just know the mechanics of solving and getting to that answer, you're good to go. Okay? So, that's how you find an angle measure using law of sines.